Run.
Welcome to the WCSR Mailbag. Okay, we're going to jump into the mailbag and answer some emails sent in by listeners in the past couple of weeks. And sort of good to get a flavor of how the podcast is going and what people think of it and what they think of me too in the meanwhile. So let's jump right into it. And first of all, we have a email from Kathy. And Kathy says, you talk about evidence which is suspect. So do you believe in Sasquatch yourself? And if so, what to you is good evidence? Well, Kathy, I don't say that some evidence is suspect. I just think that much of it comes across as unsubstantiated and open to interpretation by researchers. I mean, to use the term suspect is to insinuate that someone may be lying about someone. So I would rather go with the concept of somebody being misinformed about the evidence they're putting forth, rather than purposely trying to fool others. As for belief in Sasquatch, I'm in the Hinden camp there. Something got to be making those goddamn tracks. And that's about as far as I can go with that one. You asked what is good evidence. Good evidence is evidence corroborated by other pieces of evidence. You know, give me more than your word on the matter. If you got a footprint, were there others? Did you measure for step and stride? Did you follow them? If not, why? You know, just don't give me a snapshot and leave me guessing the rest. And yeah, basically that's all I got to say about that. Let's move on to Dave. Hi, Dave. Dave says, do you still have the sounds made by the coyotes in the dark? So you must be referring to the Chehalis sounds. As a matter of fact, yes, I do have them. Let me see if I can play them. The tape is pretty old and weather-beaten these days. So just give me a moment here and I'll set it up. Okay, I'm going to play for you now the Chehalis vocalization. It's kind of choppy. This will be sort of scary at 11:30 at night down by a foggy riverbank on your own. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to play you. Now this is what that sounds like in open air on a bright sunny day. That's a coyote location call, witnessed by myself and Thomas Steenberg. 3 coyotes were carrying this sound off. And this is the original. I'll try to move it up. So you have the Chehalis sounds. And that's what we debunked. And we had holy terror rain down on us for doing that. So, you know. Anyway, moving along to the next letter. Okay, this is from Scott. And Scott asks, will you ever have guests on your show? Other researchers? Well, Scott, I am looking forward to seeing how these podcasts evolve. I don't want to imitate the many dozens of other websites and Facebooks and podcasts already out there, so that'll probably it will probably include chats with other researchers down the road, including some road trips, taking the show out of my basement and into the motorhome. So instead of listening to people asking the questions, I'll be devoting my time to those people who are trying to answer those questions. Who knows where it can go from there? Stick around and find out. Okay, got an email from Randy. Randy asked, Randy asked if I was going to have people on the podcast relating their encounters. Hi, Randy. I already answered that in the previous email. At least I think I covered it pretty well. Excuse me. There are dozens of places where people can go for that already. As a researcher, I would rather stick to that side of things. Let's see, we got one here from Eric. Eric wants to know, what do you think of the Patterson-Gimlin film? Is that enough proof for you? Well, Eric, let me just say, I'm no video expert, nor am I a costume designer expert, but I defy anyone to try to replicate those footprints with no mechanical assistance. And even then, it will have doubtful results. Even as I'm talking about it here, I'm holding one of Patty's foot castings right in front of me. It's about 1,000th generation, but it is one of her footprints. And man, I can conceive of nothing that would be capable of making such a footprint, except a creature the size of the one in the Patterson-Gimlin video. And that's about all I can say about that, too. A letter from Rick. He says, I really like this podcast. Well, dang, Rick, thank you very much. He says it's a welcome, no bullshit platform that has a lot of potential. What are your goals for a future podcast? Well, Rick, there's no shortage of people to talk to in the lower mainland of BC. Researchers with, solid reputations and long history of involvement. But you have to remember, these podcasts are directed with the newcomers in this field in mind. So these veterans of the search, I'm sure, will have their own list of do's and don'ts that they wouldn't mind passing along to somebody just breaking into this. So, stay tuned. What do we have here? We have a email from Sandy. Sandy says, I enjoyed your podcast. In many ways, you really nailed it with the kind of people who are attracted to the mystery of Bigfoot. Cautionary discussion is a rare thing on most websites and Facebook pages. Well done. Well, Sandy, thank you. That is what it's all about. So keep listening. I appreciate it. Robert wants to know why I come across as preachy about evidence. What makes me an expert? Well, Robert, I'm no expert, but I'm not exactly being preachy. I do not tell anyone what they should believe or not believe. If they do believe, then they should do so for the right reasons. That's all I'm saying. Not because someone told them it was so. Not because they were too lazy to investigate further and form their own opinion, but because their common sense and logic dictated the belief that they must follow, then confronted with something that could be actual evidence. Tree knocks, nests, limb breaks, twist. I'm not saying that people should not believe that these things are Sasquatch related, but for me, at this point in time, there is no reason to do so. There is no evidence to back up such claims or make associations. As John Green said, and as my favorite saying in the world, he said, we have to be careful not to turn our presumptions into assumptions. And those are words I try to live by every day. you know. But you just go ahead and fill your boots. I'll just sit back and wait for some evidence instead of jumping on a popular bandwagon, you know. But that's just me. That's where my evidence bar is situated, and that's where it's staying. And yeah, and that's about it, you know. I mean, I have hopes in these podcasts that I want to talk to newer, fresher, younger minds, someone who doesn't have the game plan, you know, nailed down for them and won't vary from it for a moment. I want people open-minded, but I want them to be skeptical too. They're not going to get anywhere unless they are. This is about the listener, and I'd like to think that I'm accomplishing some kind of helpful goodness here. Or, you know, this is a real exercise in futility. If I'm just sitting here talking to myself and there's nobody out there listening. So I know now that there is people out there listening and that they're getting something out of it. But it's not about me. You ask me what my beliefs are of evidence and such and so forth. It's not about me. It's about you people out there who do the research and who come up with the hopefully correct answers to questions. And so people, keep your ears open and keep your spidey senses smart. Wear it just like Peter Parker does with his spidey senses. Your skeptical senses will keep you out of a lot of entanglements, for sure. And that's about it for the mailbag for now. Hopefully there'll be more letters in the future. And please do drop off an email at wcsr@talus.net, wcsr@talus.net, and drop a line, send your bouquets or fling your poo at me, you know, whatever tickles your fancy at the time. And please do visit my Facebook page, West Coast Sasquatch Research on Facebook. Leave a comment if you wish. Would love to hear from you. And check out my website at sasquatch-bc.com. Sasquatch-bc.com. And it's something I started a while ago, and it's where this common sense approach to research came from. It originated there. Anyway, the next podcast will be a little confab I had with John Green, and taped it. And I don't think anyone has ever heard the original tape. They've read the transcript on Bigfoot forums some years ago, but no one's ever actually heard the tape itself, I don't believe. Anyway, we'll be digging that out at the end of the month, and give a listen to it, please. And that's it for now. Okay, dear listener, that about wraps it up for now. My name is Jerry Matthews. You can reach me at yellowcoyote@talus.net. Thank you for your interest, and until the next time, keep searching.